Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are discussing our fantasy football wide receiver tiers for our most recent rankings. We want to help you win your draft to win your league. Let's start this fantasy football podcast right meow.
Hey everyone, I am Justin, that is Kyle, and this is the Fantasy Football Upside.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for checking out our Fantasy Football podcast and YouTube channel. So yesterday we did things a little differently when we came to updating our rankings for running back. We decided to break it down in tiers for you all. That's something that's been brought up to us. People have asked
we broke
for it.
the rankings down in tiers. We didn't break down in tiers. There were. I just want to make it clear.
Yeah, not yet. We'll see. Give it time.
Yeah, maybe fisticuffs.
You're lucky we were a couple hundred miles away.
Yeah.
But so yesterday was our running back one where we broke down the different tiers. You can definitely check that out in the link in the description below and right where Kyle points. Boop. Boop. But today we're going to do our wide receivers. So this is going to be even better. I'm really excited about this one because there's quite a few tiers that we can break this down into, and we'll see what you guys think and let us know, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
Do you like it this way? Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, well, you can just hit the like button if that's what you like. But you could also drop a comment down below. Yep. I am sure that we are going to get some people upset, maybe, or disagreeing with us. I don't know.
Let's hope. Let's do it.
Yeah, I sparked some controversy drafting a running back in a mock draft, apparently. Personally offended people, I guess. Yeah, moron. I'm a moron. Apparently, drafting him 21st overall. So off of his ADP, I guess, right? But not 21st overall, 21st running back. Yeah. All right. Well, that's neither here nor there because we're talking about wide receivers, and let's go ahead and get on over here to our rankings page over on our website. Make sure that you head over to our website. It's ffbupside.com. You'll be able to check out our rankings. We've got them all in the same space, basically, and you'll be able to hang out and see what's going on there. We've got, as you can see, we've got on the far right, we've got Justin's rankings, mine are in the middle, and then the composite of the two is the furthest left number. Yes. So we're going to mostly try to talk about the composite number as a reference point as we're talking to you. I'm going to scroll through the page so that you can kind of see what we're talking about. But right off the top, you want to handle where's your tier one break? I think it's our tier one break in the end. I think
it is our tier one break, and that's right after Calvin Ridley.
Yep.
You got Hill, Adams, Diggs, Ridley. I mean, just absolute studs that any one of those guys I would be okay potentially drafting towards the very end of the first round. Or if you're wanting to do, wait on running back for some reason, you could do a back-to-back. Who knows? Yeah. You can get kind of crazy with it because,
I don't have my zero RB shirt on today, but you could do zero RB. Good. Yeah, that would have been perfect for that one, right?
I mean, if you get two of these guys within that zero RB format, then you're sitting pretty.
Yeah.
You really are.
Yeah. I just want to note that right now, Davonte Adams has fallen out of the top spot for us because I moved him back to 4. Yeah. And the reason I moved him back to 4 right now, I didn't want to move him out of where I have tier 1 breaking at the end of 4, which is Ridley. I'm concerned right now. I just don't know what's happening. I don't know if he's going to have Aaron Rodgers as his QB right now. I imagine he'll show. I think Adams is going to show up and just do what Davonte Adams always does, which is just perform over the last 3 years, right? And so I would put him at 1 if I knew. I don't know. But he would still be he's still in my tier 1 group. And
absolutely. You can't really, like you say, it's hard to drop him.
Yep.
Drop him out of there, but that was a very cryptic little, I think, Instagram or Twitter post by
I think it was Instagram.
A-Raj. Yeah, it was Instagram. It was him and it was Jordan and Pippen.
Yep.
And both him and Aaron Rodgers posted that. It's like, oh. All right, let's have all the talking heads.
A few more championships difference. I mean,
we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Devontae's never won one, so yeah. I mean, I did see a comment that was like both of these guys think the other one's the Pippen. And
that's really good.
I was like, probably. That's probably the case.
Yeah,
like they
very
think.
accurate.
I think they both think they're Batman and Robin, but they're both Batman. So it's Batman and Batman is what they think they are. All right, so let's head on
what
to
do you
tier
think
2.
on tier 2?
All
Kyle?
right, so tier 2 is where you start to get a little bit less of that elite level guy, and so for me, that ends up breaking down at after Tyler Lockett. So at 14, I'm running Ridley through Lockett here at 14 as my tier 2.
Or basically DK to Lockett. Yeah. DK to Lockett. Yeah.
So, I'm sorry. I from the bottom of Ridley, so under Ridley, so DK Metcalf to Tyler Lockett. That's where I have that group. And I've moved a lot of guys around in that grouping recently. But and I kind of struggled with putting the tier after Lockett or before Lockett. But I just, in the end, I feel like these guys are the ones who are going to have the most likely, they're going to most likely finish as a wide receiver 1 for you across the entire season. But I also think that they're going to be very, very consistent. I mean, you've got guys like Allen Robinson and Robert Woods hanging around in there, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, and just a bunch of guys who are super consistent. And you can rely on them to perform at levels that you're not going to get out of the next group exactly. And you're going to have that consistency coming through. Our power rankings break down that consistency and really start to show what happened last year. And it doesn't just measure, the whole season outcome for each individual player. That's pretty useless in fantasy football, actually. It's a good marker at the end of the season to be able to say, okay, yeah, I had these guys and they did this well. But you could have a guy who does really well for like 2 or 3 weeks and then nothing the rest of the season. So
Keenan Allen, anyone?
Yeah, Keenan Allen, right? The king of it. He is the prime example. So that's why we break it down. Like, how consistent are they on a week in and week out basis, not a season average? So So that's where I've got it. Where do you got it?
Yeah, this is where we definitely have to disagree on this one, man. So I have a shorter tier 2 because I feel like
because you're wrong and I'm right.
Yeah, of course. That's exactly it.
That's why.
That's it. I have my tier 2 from DK stopping at Allen Robinson. The proof. And I just, you look at those guys right there in that grouping, you are just looking at top end high athleticism and without really that many questions. I mean, it's Allen Robinson, his questions are quarterback, but he gets it done year in and year out. So it's just one of those things where I think
that's why he's the proof.
He is the proof. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who it is. But when I look at this, I would feel comfortable drafting any one of these wide receivers in the 2nd round or early 3rd round. But it was just hard for me to include someone like a Justin Jefferson and even his teammate Adam Thielen, because we did kind of see him passing the baton. Yeah, in my opinion, for what Justin Jefferson did last year, which we like rookie wide receivers, but not as much as. You know what I mean? Like, it's usually last year was quite an anomaly on some of the rookie wide receivers, the CeeDee Lambs and Justin Jefferson. So that's why I got it stopped right after Allen Robinson on this one, man. Sure.
Yep. I think for me, maybe DK Metcalf would be the only one that I would say if I go either running back or wide receiver in the 1st round, I would still lean running back in the 2nd round. And DK out of that group is really the only one who I would pass a running back up to take DK in like the back of the 2nd round.
Yeah, you mentioned that you were thinking about putting him up in that top tier, which I mean, I get it, man.
So for me, like all these guys are like back of the 2nd at best.
Yeah.
At best, and probably 3rd round on. Just because I tend to build teams in standard scoring from running back perspective, like just running back heavy. I mean, it's irony that I have a 0 running back shirt. That's the point of it, is that it's irony. It does not make sense. Yeah, I would never do that.
That's why you wear it to the draft and throw everybody off.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, is this the year? Is this the kicker year too?
Is this the year he goes kicker first? Yeah, and actually, you guys, you can head over to our store here on our website. It's actually there on our website. You can head over there and you can see we have that shirt for sale. It's 0RB shirt. You can wear that to your draft.
It's right behind my.
That's right behind his. Right behind Justin's image here. Actually, watch. It's right back there. Right behind it. Right there it is. All right, so here we go. Let's move on.
Alrighty.
Where are you going to break tier 3? Now, I think we end
tier
up...
3 then.
Yeah.
I think we're probably getting back in line here. So it would start with Robert Woods for me, and then it's going to stop at Chris Godwin. Okay. And I'm looking at some of these wide receivers that are still great wide receivers that I would love to have as my wide receiver 2. Yeah. All within this range, because you got some really good studs in here, the CeeDee Lambs, Amari Coopers, Mike Evans. So there's a lot of people in here that at any one point, they're going to be putting up some wide receiver 1 numbers. Yeah. Maybe not putting up those elite numbers that we do for, wide receivers in our power rankings, the top 6 finishes. You might sprinkle a little bit here and there, but they are going to give you some wide receiver 1 finishes for sure. Yeah. You really can't go wrong. I mean, if you do go running back heavy, early in your draft, and then you're looking at 1 or 2 or 3 of these guys as like filling out your wide receiver roster, that would be fine with me, because I like having wide receiver 2s as, some of your top wide receivers. That means you just went heavy on RBs and we're looking good. Yeah. I mean, if we start talking about like draft strategy, let's say you're at the first 4 picks or first 5 picks of the first round, and you're at the back of the second round, and in the interim there's like a run on wide receivers essentially before it gets to you, and so you go running back at the back of the second round because value fell to you there, and your tier is a little bit better in that instance than for running back than wide receiver. This is a phenomenal group to grab in the third round, at the top of the third round. Then like any one of these guys, if you should be just absolutely elated to have at the back of the third. Maybe not Keenan Allen, but it is the way it is. He was still, he was better last year than he was. Yeah, he was better last year. So maybe it's Herbert, and maybe that's the difference maker for him. Yeah. Maybe it was just always going to be that, Phillip Rivers, old man Rivers, was a problem. I don't know. My break is at Godwin as well. I go to Godwin at that's where I break. Tier 3 is right after him. So I think that all these guys are ones that if you do go heavy running back, these are not terrible wide receiver 1s to have for your team, right? As your wide receiver 1. I would want to be in the front half of that group in the third round, but that's the way I'm going. All right, and then tier 4, I go from Godwin all the way down to, I think, 40, right? Is that where I'm at? No, Robbie Anderson. No, Robbie Anderson at 30. That's right. There we go. That's where you're at. Yeah, so Godwin all the way to Robbie Anderson here at 30 is where I end up. So for me, this group has more question marks, and this is that point that I was making in the running back episode yesterday, that you start getting into more question mark type of stuff. These are guys that are going to get some volume, some opportunity that you can rely typically upon. Their offense might be questionable because they've got a new coach, new offensive coordinator, new QB. They've got a lot of other targets that they're competing with. There's just a lot of questions that you don't have a proper answer to. And some guys you're just never going to get a really good consistency out of, because those questions are not going to be answered in any legitimate way. Like Deontay Johnson, the thing holding him back is the fact that Juju Smith-Schuster is still on that team, and then they added Chase Claypool, right? Yeah. So there's that problem. You've got Chris Godwin. Godwin's in the tier before, right? OBJ, you've got a ton of guys around who are all looking for the ball, and then you've got Baker Mayfield trying to get it to them. So that's problematic. T. Higgins, now you've got Jamar Chase, and you lost AJ Green, and now you got Jamar Chase. You just can't get a break, right? All right. Ayuk, I think, is going to be special. I think he's going to be good. So he's one of those guys for me that I think is starting to move out of the transitional tiers, the guys who are moving up or moving down, and I feel like he's going to be one of those ones that moves up. A little more consistent QB play, and we'll see what he can do. Absolutely. So another slight difference between you and I. So for my tier 4, it does go from T. Higgins, but it stops at Michael Thomas. So I don't have Chase or Robbie Anderson in this one. But I'm going to call tier 4 like the highly athletic, gifted wide receivers. And like you just said, but there's questions, and you already mentioned there's some problems. It's the T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Even though T. Higgins played really well after week 2 last year, Deontay Johnson can Big Ben throwing the ball. So. But I do like, like I said, all highly athletically gifted wide receivers in here. Michael Thomas is one that I'm very curious about, and that's something Michael Thomas is going to be very fluid in our rankings, I would assume, just based off the news of him having a complete surgery on his ankle in June, and there's just 6 to 8 week recovery, and then another 6 to 8 weeks to get him up in football shape. It's like, where does that put us then? I mean, that's 4 different weeks right there, and just the differences.
Yeah, I mean, he shot way back on our boards.
Yeah, because I think he was both top 10 for the both of us, which
I think he was. Yeah.
Even with a questionable quarterback situation, he's still that athletically gifted and just that consistent year in and year out. So I really like this tier 4 as one of those ones that you would hope to get him as your wide receiver 3, but if you have to put him as wide receiver 2, just kind of temper your expectations where you were just mentioning it. You may not get as consistent performances, but you could still get some performances that are like, oh crap, that just won me the week.
Yep. Yeah. Any one of these guys can blow up. Yeah. Any one of these guys can take over. Yeah.
So, and then that just runs me right into tier 5. Did you have anything else on tier 4?
No, go ahead. Go for it.
Okay. Tier 5, so that starts with Chase Claypool, and that's going to put me all the way down. This is kind of a bigger one to Devonte Parker at number 42.
Okay. All the way down here. So
all the way down here.
See if I can get that on the screen.
Yeah, you're good. So we were talking about question marks. I mean, this is when it really starts to, have those questions. These are ones that I wouldn't feel as comfortable putting into my final wide receiver starting lineup. But if you have to throw one of those into a flex spot, if you have to, or something like that, you're kind of just seeing which one shakes out. Because, is DJ Chark back from 2 years ago now that he has, a Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball? Jerry Jeudy had a decent rookie year, but he's got Drew Lock throwing the ball. What about Teddy Bridgewater? Is that going to change how Jerry Jeudy performs as a fantasy football player? So I think you got Brandon Cooks that is always around. It's nothing sexy at all. But he always finishes as a top 36 player.
1,000 yards every year except for one.
Yeah, exactly. It just always happens year in and year out. T.Y. Hilton, maybe with Carson Wentz actually throwing the ball down the field compared to Phillip Rivers.
He bounced back second half, sort of.
He did. Quietly. Very quietly.
Very quietly.
Which I don't mind. That's what we like to hear when it comes to, when you guys watch us and you hear things, you want to hear about the ones that, you're not hearing that buzz. That's because not everybody's talking about them. Those are the ones we want to latch on to. Yeah. Those are the ones we want to get that value out of.
Yep.
So I like these guys as ones that would be my very first bench spot.
Okay.
If possible.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So for me, it runs from, let's see here. Cortland Sutton is the first in my tier 5. We're on 5, right? Or 4?
Correct. Tier 5.
All the way down to Devonte Parker. Is the end of that one.
So we were right there together.
Yeah, pretty close.
Ending on Devonte. Yep.
Yeah. No, I was at Marquise Brown. I was 2 more than you. I was at Marquise Brown at 44. And so it's the same sort of thing. It's a bunch of question marks. It's guys who they're going to, on the upside, finish wide receiver 2. Maybe they'll blow up once or twice a season, get you a wide receiver 1 week. But for the most part, you're really hoping that they're just going to be consistent wide receiver 3. These are guys that if I can get these sorts of guys from the 5th, 6th, 7th round back, further back, that sort of thing, then these are the guys I'm hoping, fall down the board a little bit, and I find them when I'm looking for my 4th wide receiver, that kind of thing. So we're talking like 7th round maybe.
7th, 8th.
A lot of these guys will be gone by then, probably, because a lot of these guys are just old standbys or old, stalwarts that people are really married to, like Juju or Debo. I don't have that drop on the board today, man. That's right. Just guys like that, people who are just enamored with these sorts of players, and so they may, some of them are going to slip down the board, and some of them aren't. So
that's why we have these tiers right here. So they are pretty interchangeable. So when it comes to these tiers, we kind of think that they might finish around pretty similar to each other. So
So after that, it's everybody else for me, and that's just depth. I mean, and I think that we'll talk about depth guys in like sleeper episodes and undervalue and that sort of stuff. So you can check us out with those. But hey, that's going to do it for our wide receiver tiers and new rankings. Next time we are going to talk about QBs and tight ends together, same day. I think we're going to try to do that.
Oh yeah.
It might. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
We might be able to split it up. I mean,
might be able to. And maybe just maybe there's some talk of some more sleepers. Gonna go really deep, like really deep, right? Yeah. So we'll see. Hang around. Check us out tomorrow. We'll see. We're gonna talk about either QB and tight end or just QB. We'll see. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for hanging around. Bye.
See you guys.